Hello everyone, today I am going to teach you Aristotle's Poetics. Okay, so in his work Poetics, Aristotle talks about how stories, especially tragedies means sad place, can make people feel strong emotions. He explains that when we watch a story about something sad happening to someone, like a hero facing a big problem or losing everything, it can help us learn important things about life. These kind of stories make us feel pity for the person in trouble and fear that something bad might happen to us too. Aristotle says that every tragedy should have a good plot. The plot is like the storyline of the play, which shows what happens first, then what happens next, and then what everything ends. How everything ends. A good plot has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The middle part is where problems happen, and the end is where everything gets fixed or something big happens. Then he also explains the main character or the hero should be someone who is good but not perfect. The hero has to be like us with mistakes and weaknesses so we can feel connected to them. If the hero makes a mistake or faces a huge problem because of their flaws, we will feel sorry for them. We care about what happens to them because they are like real people, not just pretend characters. Aristotle says that when a story is done well, it makes us feel something called catharsis. This is a special feeling that happens when we watch a sad or emotional story and let out our feelings. It's like when you feel sad or upset, and then after watching a movie or listening to a story, you feel better because you have let your feelings out. Catharsis helps us understand and deal with our own emotions. A good tragedy, Aristotle says, should have a reversal and recognition. Reversal when something surprising happens that changes everything in the story. For example, maybe the hero thinks they are going to win, but then something surprising happens and they lose instead. Recognition is when the hero realizes something important that they didn't know before. It's like when you discover something new that makes you understand the whole story better. Finally, Aristotle talks about poetry and drama, explaining that poetry and plays are great ways to tell stories because they can make us feel emotions and help us learn lessons about life. And he says that good stories don't just entertain us, they help us grow and understand the world around us. So, a good story with a hero, a strong plot, and big emotions is the best way to connect with people and teach important things. Aristotle also talks about the importance of unity in a good story. He believes that the whole story should work together in a way that makes sense. Every part of the story should fit together to help tell the main message. For example, if there is a happy moment in the middle of a sad story, it should connect to the overall theme and not feel out of place. A good tragedy, he says, will have everything connected and each part will lead to the next part without confusion. Aristotle also explains that language in a play or poem is important because it should sound natural and beautiful. When the characters speak, their words should be clear and meaningful. The way they speak should help us understand their feelings and situations that they are going through. In tragedies, the language should reflect the seriousness of the problems the hero faces. In comedies, it can be lighter and funnier. He believes that characters in the story should also be well developed. They shouldn't just be people who act without any reason. Each character should have a reason for doing what they do, and their actions should make sense to the audience. If a character does something surprising, it should be something we can understand based on who they are. Characters should also change over time. In good stories, characters learn lessons and grow through the challenges they face. Aristotle also mentions that the best type of tragedy is one that doesn't just make us feel sad but also help us see a bigger picture of life. A good tragedy teaches us about morality, which means what is right and wrong, and human nature, which means who we are as people. By watching a sad story about someone who makes a mistake, we might learn how not to make the same mistake in our own life. In addition to tragedy, Aristotle talks briefly about comedy, which is a lighter and funnier type of a story. While tragedies focus on serious themes like suffering and mistakes, comedies show the funny side of life. Comedies often have happy endings and can teach us important lessons in a fun way. Even though Aristotle focuses more on tragedy, he says that comedy also has value in showing the funny parts of human life. Finally, Aristotle's Poetics is not just about writing stories, it's about understanding the deeper meaning behind stories. He says that when we watch or read stories, we should look for what they teach us about life, morality, and human nature. Stories are more than just entertainment, they help us grow and think about how we can live better lives. So, Aristotle's ideas teach us for deeper meaning in every story we hear.